Every day, you essentially pay your dues by doing the harder thing when it's the right thing to do. Trying to get 8 hours is ideal because from their research, a lot of the really important kind of fantastic stuff for recovery and adaptation, that comes in the last like REM cycle of about 90 minutes. So all of the really great work that you've done on strength and conditioning or studying for tests or going to practice and learning skills and hitting routines, like and doing really, really hard conditioning, all of those adaptations don't happen while you're doing the thing. Like a little bit is happening because your body's always kind of trying to catch up. But the majority of that stuff comes from the optimal dosage of work followed by the optimal dosage of rest. So if you work really hard and then you get good food in you and you sleep and you have a good recovery window, that is when your body really does solidify some of the things in your mind that have kind of been like study focuses or has been tried to really be the exercise focus for like getting stronger or more powerful. That all happens when you sleep and when you recover. So that's why it's really important. Your favorite Netflix show or a movie, right? Or some people like to meditate. Some people like to journal. Some people like to go get, brunch with their friends. Some people like to go for walks in nature, right? Everyone has their own thing that really is deeply restorative to them, that really kind of puts the money back in their bank account. So whatever those things are for you, you have to find them, one. Two, you have to consciously schedule them into your daily or your weekly life and allow yourself to have time to do them. And three is you have to not judge yourself and crap on yourself when you take that time and be like, oh my God, I should be working right now. Oh my God, I should be studying right now. I can't believe I'm so like lazy. I'm not doing extra cardio. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm not doing this. I'm not doing my extra prehab, whatever. Like if you schedule your time properly, and you make all the times when you should be working, okay, I'm going to go class, do my homework, go do my prehab, go to practice, come home, another hour of homework, and then, grab my stuff to go to bed. And I'm going to watch TV for 30 minutes, right? Or for an hour, right? And then I'm going to go to bed at 10 or 11 or whatever else it is. That is what needs to happen, right? Because again, back to the concept of sleep helps restore our body, heal our injuries, get our tissue repaired, get our brain kind of back solidified with new information we're learning. This also is extremely important to shift our body into that non-working parasympathetic state and calm yourself down. So if you're working really hard for preseason and tests and midterms and all that kind of stuff, you're grinding, quote unquote, right? You have to have the equal amount of recovery time. Turn the brakes down, right? Relax a little bit, calm down here to really make things go ahead. And obviously, if you're of age and you're in college, you might be going out and drinking or partying or stuff like that on the weekend. And you have to be very self-aware and you have to be very critical about, when are you going out, what times, how often are you going out, how much are you drinking? Because alcohol is extremely imperative to the recovery process, right? But I know as normal humans, we want to have fun. We want to go out in college, we want to enjoy our time. And I'm not saying that I did, of course, but it all has to be in moderation. And you have to think about where you are at in season, because the majority of your building blocks get made now in preseason and off season for the competitive season, particularly championship season. So if you want to be in a really good situation in the beginning of your season, end of your season, it has to come through some of these things being made now. The reason this is really important is because back to this whole equation of stress and recovery, what do you think fuels your work and your recovery, right? The fuel in your body is what allows you to practice, allows you to study, allows you to work hard, right? But it also, the fuel after working hard is what replenishes those building blocks and builds new tissue and solidifies your brain working, right? Like your brain runs off carbs, runs off glucose, right? So it needs those healthy forms of carbohydrates to learn things, to operate, to think, to do practices, all that kind of stuff. And then also, gymnastics is primarily a glycolytic sport. So a lot of those carbohydrates are what is being used. So having a proper intake of carbs and fats and proteins, your body gets the fuel it needs, it stores it in muscles, it uses it during practice, then you recover, you get more food in you, and it kind of uses that to rebuild back up for the next day. So you need this for both sides of the equation, for the working side and for the actual recovery side, right? So you're getting the work done, that's burning the fuel, but recovering is kind of putting gas back in the gas tank and rebuilding your body. And the biggest thing that I have heard from nutritionists that I'm going to just echo again, I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian, so what they've told me, the biggest problem with gymnastics is unintentionally under fueling. Okay. And so what that means is that they aren't maliciously trying to, cut weight or look a certain way. They're just generally trying to live their busy life. And because of their busy life, they don't get enough calories or fuel or macronutrients inside of them. And they tend to have problems, whether it's crashing at practice or being really tired after practice or having some sort of lack of recovery. And so they're not intentionally doing it, but they're just running around their busy life, and they have to go to school. They have to go to practice, get a snack. They might have parents that are helping cook for them. They have a dining hall where there's not, so many options all the time. They're trying to figure out what to do, and they just under fuel because they're so busy. And strength conditioning is really the foundation of all the fun stuff in gymnastics, right? So if you want to hit routines, you want to do bigger skills, you want to, be more competitive, you have to have more power, right? And more cardiovascular endurance. That really is the foundation of gymnastics, is that bursted power, that explosive body weight power. So power is really a equation of strength and time. It's a manipulation of strength and time. So if you want to increase your power, you have to increase your strength or reduce the time in which you express that strength, so you can hit the equipment harder. You can, hit the board harder for your Yurchenko. You can tap harder on high bar for a Kovacs or something like that. So if increasing power comes down to increasing strength or reducing time, well, the best evidence way to increase strength is a combination of body weight and weight training, plus optimizing your technique, right? So if you want to increase your strength, we have to do our body weight conditioning, but we also have to do resistance training. We have to do overload training, because that's what's going to take the really big type 2 muscle fibers that really put out a lot of power. It's going to build them up to express more power, right? By having more raw strength to put into the equipment or tumble or tap harder or stuff like that. So by doing body weight and strength training together with resistance training or weight training, plus having really good technique of how to tap and how to shape change and how to do all the round off progressions you need, that is what's going to help out a lot with your power. So we've done some internal data where we've had college gymnasts come in and measured them before season. And then we say, okay, go off to your college, do your thing, come back. And in May, we'll measure you again. We measured their shoulder and hip flexibility, their ankle flexibility, as well as their strength and their power on force plates and a whole bunch of other things that we did with med ball throws. And what we found in the majority of athletes is that they tend to lose shoulder and hip mobility, and their power and their strength went down over the course of a natural gymnastics season. Very small study, only 7 to 8 people, super internal. But I've also seen this happen with JO club gymnasts that I work with, or developmental gymnasts that go from pre to post college, pre or post season. And they too have issues with just slow stiffness accumulating in their shoulders, particularly if they're a bar specialist. Their shoulders get real tight. If they're really good at rings, they're really good at parallel bars and high bar. The soft tissue of their shoulders, their lats, their teres major, their pecs get stiffer. And if they're a little bit more of a lower body dominated gymnast, so floor, vault, maybe balance beam for women's gymnastics, it's the adductors, it's the hip flexors, it's all that kind of stuff. So proactively really trying to stay ahead of the soft tissue care is really, really important. What does that look like? Every day, dynamic warm-ups and proper soft tissue care with stretching before practice, trying to do some foam rolling and specific stretching for the areas that maybe you're really limited on. But also some really good ways to do this are loaded eccentrics. And I've kind of talked extensively about this, but eccentrics are a great way to actually hopefully lengthen muscles in an elongated position when they're contracting, versus like foam rolling, manual therapy, all that kind of stuff is probably just reducing tone or desensitizing muscles over time along with stretching. But loaded eccentrics are fantastic to really help actually lengthen up. So maybe doing 2 to 3 sets of 5 repetitions of these exercises with a 5-second lower and a 5-second hold using load every day can help to really maximize some of that soft tissue quality, right? So